Havra, and Laura
Let's go.
Stewart. Awesome leaders.
Thanks. Easy. Hi.
Here we go, guys.
Ooh.
Amazing leaders. First and foremost, thank you for sharing your time with us, and your contribution to collaborate is noted, and we're grateful for that. We're here to talk about attracting our teams. Share with us, how has recruiting changed in 2024? And as we look out into 2024, what changes will we see as compared to the last couple of years?
We starting with me first, lucky me.
Yeah,
I think in 2024 and for the foreseeable future, I mean, it doesn't look like it did. Like back in the day, like I'm old, but 10 years ago, you know, people would join teams and they would just want to be workhorses. And oftentimes the leaders didn't care so much about the person, right? They brought people onto the team to take work off of their workload. And it was, what can these people do for me? And I think oftentimes now what really makes a successful team, and I'm speaking on behalf of our team that has 64 agents now and counting, it's really saying, how can I help them? How can I be the mentor to these people versus what can they do for me? And I think that that's only gonna get more and more important as we go forward, and taking the time to do one-on-ones with each team member, which sounds exhausting, because we sound like we're babysitting our team members, but at the end of the day, they're working for you. You should really be working for them. And that's how you're gonna give back to those people.
Loving on your people.
Yeah.
And caring about what they care about. All right, DJ, what do you have to say?
I think it's pretty simple. The advantage we have right now, what's different about recruiting now versus pre-COVID or whatever the time frame you want to call it is, if you've built a good business over the last 5 to 10 plus years, you have a tremendous opportunity in front of you right now, because there's market share being taken, and there are great agents who are struggling, who just didn't know how to run.
When we take a look at agents who have acquired their license over the last few years, so call it 2020 to date, how do we approach attraction and recruiting with the avatar of that agent that has been licensed for a few years, and actually an interesting few years, as compared to
Attracting your tribe. So what's really important to our team is actually not hiring based off of skill. And I know that that sounds crazy probably to a lot of people, because when you're thinking about expanding and you're thinking about growing, you want skillful people. But we always say it's attitude over skill, because I can teach the skills, right? Like, let's all be honest, guys, like pulling some comps actually isn't that difficult. We can all figure that out. But getting someone to buy in to your vision is a lot less easy. And so I think, you know, going forward, obviously you said, what's the difference between these two groups? I actually personally think it's very similar, right? I feel like the people who came into the market early, they got maybe some beginner's luck in 2020, and now they're being kicked around a little bit. But if they're still hungry and they're still coming with a sense of wanting to learn and wanting to find a mentor, then that's where you can step in and fill that gap.
I would agree. I think that if someone has succeeded or is still willing to run that race at this point and hasn't given up, that's somebody that I want to talk to, because the work ethic is there. I can teach you how to do the skill set and the technical knowledge around it. But I also think that what that person is looking for is probably very different from what the person who was established or has been an agent for 10 years is looking for. The newer agent, from my experience recently, is that they're looking for experience. They're looking for someone on the team, whether it's the president of the company or someone they're going to be reporting to be able to go and ask questions to, because they haven't seen some of the scenarios that we're now starting to face. And as we get back to a neutral market or a buyer's market, they have no idea what that looks like. So setting up your team, whether that's yourself or there's other layers of management in place, to make sure that you can be a resource to them and a sounding board that they have access to ask those questions, that's really what it's about. What I also see on social media is so many of us are spending so much time with our social media recruiting and making all of our content about bring agents. I'm open, I'm hiring. If you educate the customer and sprinkle in a little bit of, hey, if you're looking to come join a team, we'd love to talk with you, I think that goes farther, because you don't look like a recruiting machine. You look like a business that's servicing the customer, and people want to be part of success. When they see that you're successful for the client, they're going to want to go where they see the clients going.
People want to be around success, for sure. Jonathan?
Yeah, one of our pillars at Spears Group is adaptability. And I think that when we think about an agent pre-COVID versus post-COVID,
who's willing to be adaptable? Like, who has a growth mindset? Who is somebody that wants to figure out what their capacity looks like? And the market of yesteryear may have only required you to do an open house once a month and throw things on the MLS, and really you became skilled at fielding 30 multiple offers, as opposed to today, it takes picking up the phone and prospecting 100 agents in your market each week. Or it takes cold calling, which is maybe a muscle that most of us don't work, especially those of us who are seasoned. And so what I'm looking for as we recruit is somebody who's willing to be adaptable. And part of that is bouncing back with passion. It's somebody that, man, this isn't working, I'm gonna try the next one. And what I make sure I don't look for is an agent who's deer in the headlights. I live in, a little beach town that there's deer that are on the side of the road, and when we drive by, they're looking at me wide-eyed. And I think about my agents that way. When they look at me wide-eyed, they're not necessarily doing the things it takes to succeed in this market. And I always tell them, listen, a deer in the headlights, it gets hit. And so I need you to move, I need you to take action, I need you to focus, because the only thing that's gonna keep you from achieving your goals this year is your focus.
The deer in the headlight in that wide-eyed moment, not only are the agents feeling that right now, a number of us have felt that, at least had a moment, right, where we looked in the mirror and said, oh goodness, okay, we're going to be agile, we're going to look at things in a way that we're either revisiting after a number of years that those skill sets weren't needed, or we might be looking at something through the lens the first time. How is curiosity showing up for you as you're identifying the way that you can best serve those agents? If we think about the agent that's wide-eyed, we need to uncover what's making them wide-eyed, right? They didn't necessarily have to have negotiation skills in the same way in the last 2 years as they do today, prospecting skills.
That's right.
So how are you continuing to lean into that curiosity to, in your one-on-ones, learn what's most important to them so that you're retaining the agent?
Yeah, the one-on-ones we kind of implemented around 2 years ago on our team. And I'm not gonna lie, they start off pretty awkward, right? You bring someone in, because it's not to talk about work. I'm not saying, here's your review and here's how the work is going. It's really to talk to them at a human level. Say, what's going on? And nothing, everything's fine is usually the answer you get at the start, and they're just happy-go-lucky and they don't want to really talk to you. But after time, I do these once a month with my team members, and over time they do open up to you and they do start to tell you about their family or their fears or a sickness with a child or something like that, unfortunate. And you start to really develop these relationships, like real relationships with people. And sometimes there's tears, and it's not like I'm a therapist, I'm not necessarily skilled at this, but I think it's just sitting down and understanding what it is that they're looking for from their career. Because not all agents are looking for the same thing. Not every agent wants to grow a mega company. Some agents are like, I'm just happy doing my 20 deals a year, my 10 deals a year, whatever it is. And it's your job to listen and then help reverse engineer exactly what it is that they're looking for. Find a place on your team where they might be able to help. And maybe that's not just being an agent full-time. Maybe there's some administrative work that they can help with just to make ends meet if money's perhaps a problem, or if they can't be working the hours, you can help them sort it out. But the only way you're gonna get to those notions, those ideas, is really to uncover and unpack all that in the one-on-one. So taking that time is really crucial.
And sometimes we are therapists.
I feel like it most of the time. And I need a therapist too.
And really, therapists, we can giggle a little bit, and yet isn't it that we as humans want to feel heard, right? And so what does that mean to our agents that we are serving is one of the most important things is I hear you, I see you, I'm here. DJ?
On the one-on-ones, I think it starts even earlier than that. So I don't know how everyone hires. If you've been in this room and you raised your hand to one of the previous sessions where they asked, have you made a bad hire? I think that was Holly's question. If you didn't raise your hand, you're lying to yourself, or you haven't hired anybody yet.
I'm raising 4 hands.
We've all done it, right? That's how we get better, right? So many of us hire for necessity in the first place, and then you all of a sudden realize that doesn't work because you don't have the right people on the bus and the right seats. But during that interview process, there has to be a motivational interview portion of it where you talk about what is it that you want to do in your career, in your money, and in your family in the next 1 year and in the next 5 years. That then blends into the one-on-one where we follow up every single week to see if they've kept to what those goals are personally and professionally, so that you can see if they're missing, if the needle's not hitting in the right place and if they're off mark. And then the other thing is we create client events. We do 2 big ones every year, and we do monthly happy hours. I don't care if anyone comes to the happy hours, because yes, it's the touches through the clients that are great, but my team gets to be there and they get to open up to each other in a social experience that we don't usually get them to do. So all of a sudden things will find their way out in that environment that then get back to us and we can help solve those problems.
Such good insight.
Yeah, DJ's spot on. I think for me, when I sit down with an agent, I'm looking for consistency. And so when we all think of the definition of excellence, excellence is a culmination of your consistencies. Excellence is also a core value for Spears Group. And for us, like, how can we hold somebody accountable if we don't know what they're consistent at, right? And then how can we back into goals from a consistency basis? Because goals are really achieved by repetition. And so I always equate this to going into the gym. Like, if you just put the bar up every time, you're not really tearing the same muscle tissues and growing, right? We're not expanding. And so for me, like, I want to set the vision early. As a leader, my job is to clarify vision for our company. I cannot have an ideal agent that's not somebody, or that's somebody that's not willing to follow process. In fact, I loved our friend earlier from Washington, D.C. He talked about, if somebody isn't willing to do the job, I accept their resignation. And I think being brutally honest with people is the best way to serve them as a team leader, as opposed to really telling them what they want to hear, which is the biggest mistake that we all make.
And sometimes we feel that it's out of necessity because
That's
we're clamoring to get that person to come on board. A couple questions that we talked about in our pre-call was how we show up and say, what does accountability look like to you, right? And then even adding that intentional time frame of in the next 30 days, long term. What does leadership look like to you? These are things that will help us uncover what they're experiencing in the moment. Well, let's talk a little bit about agent avatars and the importance of having an avatar. That's really categorized as being very apparent who we're seeking to serve rather than just that we're hiring. Now come join us, right? We can be so much more impactful when we get super clear on the avatars and who we're seeking to serve.
Yeah, so on my team, we have about 4 or 5 people at the executive level, so to speak, and we're all heavy into content. And so it's kind of ironic because I think we filter out a lot of people just through our content. Like, I'm thinking of one of my business partners. He's a big Greek guy. He's really intense, and he either attracts or repels people, right? Some people are absolutely in love with him, and some people are like, I would never want to work on that team. And so all of us just kind of doing our own content, we each attract a different style, a different type of person who wants to be in our team. And then when they come in, they either want to be mentored or work with me or my other business partner, Jazz, or the big Greek guy. And they kind of make that choice of who they want to be with. And so I think it's really important, like, if you put out yourself online authentically, and I know that's been the buzzword of this year, last year, and the year before it probably, but if you really start showcasing yourself and you really start to take the layers off of all these things that we've built up over time to help protect us, and you really start to showcase who you really are, you're gonna find the right people to join your team. And we have actually let go of people on our team who are our highest producers simply because they just didn't fit the culture. If you come on our team and you tear anybody else down, you don't make them feel good, you're out. It doesn't matter how much money you make. And so we make that's something that's very clear off the bat. Like I already said, to me, it has less to do with the skill and how much money they're bringing in, a lot more to do with the attitude, because we kind of view ourselves as one big family. Like, we eat together, we drink together, we cry together, we laugh together. So it really becomes kind of this, like, we're all going for the same goal, but our goals within it are different. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can have a different goal than within our team than the whole team goal, but we're all kind of striving for something together, and we're all doing something, and that's what's exciting, and that's what gets everybody out there every day doing the best that they can do that day.
That's right. Agent avatars, gentlemen.
I think it's just simple knowing, are you going for an established agent, or are you going for a brand new agent? What do you actually have the support systems to provide? If it's a new agent, go after new agents, make sure you have ways to make them successful, have a track record of past agents on your team that have done that. If you want to go after established agents, go find out, go talk to people, get back into the marketplace, find out what their problems are, make sure you have a systems and a growth track to solve for those agents' problems, and show them what the runway looks like for them to grow.
We've done this before. We've done this for people like you, right?
That's right, yeah. And on agent avatars, I mean, you guys hit who's your ideal agent, what's your culture like. But I want to give you all permission. Your agent avatar is going to change. As your business evolves, as you guys grow as individuals, as the parts of the market change that you serve, like, your agent avatar is going to change. I would be looking at who your agent avatar is at least twice per year. And so at Spears Group, we're always looking internally, and we're going, okay, does this person fit the culture? Is this person enhancing the culture? And is the culture changing for the wrong reasons? And if so, being swift to take that out of the equation is going to be everything.
Last question. You were not prepared for this one. Brace yourselves.
Renee.
Goodness, before we wrap, we have literally 10
Don't make me
seconds.
blush.
In 3 words or less, what does team mean to you?
I'm gonna use a quote that my business partner uses. It's pasted all over his sweatshirt and his branding, and it's "you are enough." And I think that if you can, as a team leader, inspire people and build their confidence, because I hate to break it to all of us, like, real estate agents are an interesting breed of people. A lot of us kind of fell into this industry. It wasn't necessarily like we were born and this is what we wanted to do for our whole life, a lot of us at least. And so I think when we get into this industry, sometimes we get slapped around a little bit, and that kind of takes a hit to our ego. And if you can, as the team lead, really start to work to just building that confidence, the work is gonna come out of that.
Thank you.
Mine's 4 words, and I have permission to curse, but our team acronym is DEAD, don't be a dick. You get off the bus if you're going to do one.
Jonathan, bring us home.
So good. I'm going to give you 2 words. So our team is built different. And so when you've got a group of people that can come together, they come from all walks of life, all ages, and they can work towards a common goal that is greater than a single individual, you're built different. And that's what we're looking for spiritually.
Thank you for sharing your time and talent with us all today. You all are amazing.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
You did